When you look down on the Norfolk coast, it's hard to imagine how busy this area was 500 years ago. But it was the merchant wealth of those days that built these grand churches. This is Salthouse, and ships could reach Salthouse up a creek from the great harbour at Cley. As you'd expect for a place with merchant wealth, Salthouse Church was completely rebuilt at the end of the 15th century, apart from its tower. And in the new fashion of the day, the nave and the chancel are continuous under one roof. Now, it's almost exactly contemporary with the famous church at Blythburgh in Suffolk, which is another watery place. But here, there are no walls of glass. These windows are narrow, as if to keep out the storms that roll in from the sea. There's a popular image of medieval churches that they must have been rather dark and smoky places. But in the years after the Black Death, there's a new urgency to assert the orthodox doctrine of the Catholic Church. And part of that comes from these large windows letting in lots of rational light and a new emphasis on congregational worship. And this will lead inevitably, by the time we get to the 16th century, to the Reformation. In the years after the Reformation, chancels fell out of use and were often used for other purposes, sometimes as schools. This is the back of the chancel screen. It's now been moved to the back of the church at Salthouse, and it's got some splendid graffiti on it, including this ship, which has got 4 masts and must have been something that the people who scratched it, bored school children perhaps, saw when they stood in the churchyard and looked out to sea. The people who drew the ship graffiti here in Salthouse Church would have known a very different coastline to the one that's there today. And although this is no longer a busy place, the sea still returns to take its toll. In January 1953, during the Great East Coast floods, most of the villagers here were made homeless and made their way up to the church to seek sanctuary.